big changes when it comes to Social Security.
Yeah, so there's been several changes to Social Security in the last 6 months. All of them have been pretty pro-client or pro-friendly client, I guess. This is one of those too. So in kind of a general sense, folks that were government retirees, folks who paid into an alternate system rather than Social Security. Traditionally, we see this with some federal workers, a lot of school teachers. That's where people are probably most likely to encounter this.
Yes, I've heard stories on those, yeah.
So what they did is they put in a penalty on those folks, and they reduced their Social Security disability and their Social Security retirement amounts.
Right.
And that penalty has been removed. That's the big change. And so there's lots of...
Did I just hear woo-hoo out there? I think I did.
Yeah, it is a big change. So kind of in a general sense, we won't spend a lot of time on this, but when Social Security determines the amount of money that we're eligible to draw back out of the system, they use a replacement strategy. And there's some dollar amounts up here. We really won't get into that much. But they took a look at 35 years of your work history.
Right.
They determine your average monthly income adjusted for inflation.
Sure.
Right? And then what they do is they replace 90% of a benchmark. So of the first $1,226 of your average monthly income, they replace 90% of it.
Okay.
And then they replace 32% of the next benchmark and 15% of the next benchmark.
Okay.
And we add these three numbers together, and that's how they figure out how much money they owe you for Social Security. So yeah, it's complicated, that's for sure.
I was just going to say, seems awfully complicated there.
Yes, yes it does. And so what happens with this penalty, the Windfall Elimination Provision, if you had paid into an alternate system, like a school teacher or a federal employee,
right,
instead of replacing 90% of your average monthly income in that first bracket, it can be reduced all the way down to 40% replacement. So it results in a considerable reduction in the amount of money that you receive from disability or from retirement.
Right.
Right. And so what happened here is they removed this here very recently, hot off the press. 1st of January, this was signed into law. This penalty has been removed. And so if you're one of these folks that have paid into an alternate system, and if you're drawing Social Security, Social Security is supposed to make the adjustment, make you whole, correct, remove the penalty, and pay you more money. But a lot of people didn't file for benefits because somebody at Social Security or otherwise said, you can file, but there really won't be much there for you. If you haven't filed and you're a federal retiree or a school retiree or something where you paid into this alternate system, you need to get hold of Social Security.
Okay, so you need to refile?
Yes, most definitely. Because there's likely money there for you that wasn't there previously.
This, I mean, you use the word windfall, but this sounds like it could be a windfall for many people.
Yeah, it could. You know, and if they took away 40% of your money in that first bracket, 40% replacement's quite a bit for some people.
That's a nice chunk.
The other thing is they put in a government pension offset, and these are for folks that are passed. So maybe your wife worked for the federal government, had a retirement account there, and they reduced the widow or widower's benefits based on the fact that they paid into this alternate system.
Exactly.
And this can be huge because they'll figure out what Social Security owes you, and then they can reduce that amount by 2/3 of the pension amount. So whatever your government pension looks like, 2/3 of that is a deduction from the Social Security benefit. So if you're a widow or a widower and you had a spouse that worked in one of these alternate systems, federal government or school employee, you need to get a hold of Social Security.
You know, what this sounds like to me is, I guess the thing that you hear is, I paid Social Security for so many years, I'm not getting that money, and it's my money.
Yeah, and that's the reason why this was, thought to be fundamentally unfair. They've made efforts to replace this, remove this penalty for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
It just fails in the legislature, and this time it didn't.
Okay, this could be a windfall for a lot of people. People want to talk to you because this is only one thing that, I mean, you're knowledgeable in Social Security across the board. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so like I said, you reach out to Social Security if you're receiving benefits or if you didn't file. You can call our office too. I'm happy to go over this with folks.
Right.
And that's 417-812-6698, direct to my desk. You can also scan the QR code. It jumps over to a Calendarly link where you can click on it and set an appointment with me. Just kind of whatever works for you. It'll block out my calendar if I'm busy. So available times there. Pick something that works for you. Give me a shout about this or any other aspect of the Social Security Disability Program.
Absolutely. So, there may be a bit of a windfall waiting for you. You might want to talk to him for some information. Back to you guys.